Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank.
But you can't sue your friends, or I can't, at least. So it just wouldn't have been good karma. And the other side of it is, as people say, or tell me, I should be pleased to know that my idea was one of the 1% that can actually make a profit. Only 5% of patents are marketable and 1% show profitability. So it's a very hard struggle.
I'm very excited to offer a brand new training workshop to you as a podcast listener. Every week, inventors ask me, how do I find the right company to license my invention? That's precisely why I created this new, live, hands-on Zoom training workshop. The workshop's called How to Find the Perfect Company to License Your Invention. But you must act quickly if you want to join us. The workshop is coming up very soon. The workshop consists of 3 modules. Module 1 is how to find companies with products similar to yours. In other words, that could be perfect licensing partners for your invention. Module 2 is how to find the right contacts within those companies so you can reach out to the right person for licensing. And Module 3 is how to find the email addresses for your contacts. I'll share with you proven methods to find those emails. I mentioned you must act quickly to join us. That's because the workshop is scheduled for Thursday, May 29th, and you must pre-register if you want to join us. Don't wait. To join the live hands-on workshop, just go to www.alanbeckley.com/perfect. All the details are there. Enrollment is limited to no more than 10 students for this training, so don't wait until it's too late. To recap, you'll learn 3 things: how to find the perfect company, the right person to contact, and their email address in this workshop. Once again, to join us on Thursday, May 29th, just go to alanbeckley.com/perfect to register now. I look forward to meeting you on Thursday, May 29th. Welcome to episode number 510. Today, I interview Bonnie Passman. Bonnie Passman was born and raised in the Philadelphia area. After graduating high school, she attended community college. Unable to decide on a career path, which for women appeared to be rather limited in the late 60s, she left college and became a travel agent. The travel industry was a rather glamorous career path at the time and great fun. Bonnie, throughout her life, was thinking of new and improved product ideas. When she retired from her career in the travel industry, her husband told her to scratch the itch and move forward with her product development. The journey was magical, finding the right people at the right time, and disappointing not obtaining the patent she worked so hard for. Bonnie is now pivoting to what she hopes will be a successful idea. Bonnie still resides in the Philadelphia area with her husband and dog, busy working on the next idea. You'll want to listen to this entire interview where Bonnie describes her frustration in discovering that someone that lived only 15 miles away from her had filed a provisional patent for it just 3 months before Bonnie did. She had to let her product idea go. She describes many positive aspects of her journey since 2017 as an inventor, including learning to believe in herself, that she can create something and make people feel good and the world a bit better place. And finally, she advises all inventors to have fun, to follow their dream, and not give up, and to get to know other inventors in the community. Now, let's get right to our interview with Bonnie Passman. Bonnie Passman, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. I thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Bonnie, I've known you for quite a few years now, and you've actively participated in my monthly boot camp for inventors, as well as other workshops that I sponsor from time to time. Like many inventors, you've encountered setbacks that force you to reevaluate and reconsider your path forward. After a particularly frustrating circumstance that you had, you dusted yourself off and started on a new path forward. I see you as starting a whole new chapter that I feel will be productive going forward. In this interview, let's share a bit of your journey with our listeners. I'm certain that some of our listeners will have likely had similar challenging episodes. So, a number of years ago, you invented a product that looked to have a lot of potential in the marketplace. And as you were moving forward with it, you were gobsmacked when your idea was patented locally by someone during the same time frame. Can you briefly describe to our listeners what happened and why it was a big setback for you?
My product idea was simple, and I had been working on it for decades. I not only had that setback, I also had the pandemic happen in the midst of my trials. I had gone for my provisional patent. I had 3 searches done. I was very careful because it was such a simple product. I thought I better make sure all is well. And then when I was with my utility patent, my lawyer said something similar had come up. And it turned out to be invented by someone who lives 15 miles away within the same time frame. They had gotten their provisional patent in May. I had gotten mine in August of 2019. And since it is now whoever is first to patent, that just blew me out of the water. And because it was provisional, it never came up in any of the searches I had paid for. So whether or not it was intentional, I don't know. But I was working with people from that area. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know that it was disheartening because most of the money I had saved for this project went toward this product.
You can certainly see how phenomenally frustrating that would be. And I'm a believer that there's no coincidence. And the fact that it was within 15 miles from where you were and in the same time frame, and there were some people that you had collaborated with during this time frame, and also had to be hugely frustrating. We're talking about a difference of 2 or 3 months. And if you ever end up going to court for such things, as I'm sure maybe not everybody knows, but if you file a provisional patent that is earlier than theirs, and then your provisional patent can be proved to look at basically the same as your utility patent, then you would win that if you had the money to go spend and fight this battle, which that's a whole nother question. But it's one of those things that probably was no coincidence, had to be hugely frustrating, and it's a challenging thing to deal with, both just structurally, something you put so much time, effort, and passion into, and then just emotionally dealing with that.
And also, I believed that I had crossed my T's and dotted my I's. I had all of my cohorts sign non-disclosure agreements. I had, as I said, I had the searches done, but you can't sue your friends, or I can't, at least. So it just wouldn't have been good karma. And the other side of it is, as people say or tell me, I should be pleased to know that my idea was one of the 1% that can actually make a profit. Only 5% of patents are marketable and 1% show profitability. So it's a very hard struggle, but it's fun. I will say that I've loved my journey. Well, I really, truly still feel positive about this whole business, the people in it, And I do plan to move forward because of that.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's such a great attitude towards it. Anyways, I was going to ask regarding this, can you describe or maybe point to a valuable lesson you received as a result of that setback? Is there a way that circumstance might be fuel to the fire to motivate you as you move forward? Can you think of anything like that?
First, I never had expectations about what would come of this. I simply enjoyed the journey and hoped for the best. So I didn't have that kind of disappointment. I've met wonderful people. I've been in wonderful rooms. I've learned so much that I do now also believe that when I move forward, I will only be better prepared because of all of this. So in the long run, it's been very productive for me. I've gotten to believe in myself and know that others believe in me. And that's very exciting, especially at 74
Or even younger than that?
or even
Right.
younger.
That's right. Age is just a number, as they say. There's several points you made I'd like to just highlight for our listeners a little bit. And that is, people say it's cliche, and maybe it is, but it really is all about the journey, because your goal is to obviously create a product, get it out in the marketplace, at some point, realize an income, profitability off of it. But also, the bigger goal isn't, I think, for successful inventors. The bigger goal is to create something that buyers will enjoy and benefit from having, and create something that matters in the world, and know that you created something that didn't exist before you had this idea and move forward with it. And as you described, going through that journey, you become a different person than you were at the beginning. You learn new skills, you get outside your comfort zones a lot, and you meet lots of new people. And when you look back, it's much more of a positive journey than it would be a negative journey.
Absolutely. I have generally good thoughts of everything. All of the lawyers, my lawyer went to bat for me. He did everything he could to try to get me my patent. And that was the other side of it, on top of the prior art, which is in a world where the internet exists, it's everything that ever existed in the history of the world. So when you develop something rather simple, the thought that it might be out there, yeah, that's why I did 3 searches. I have been throughout my journey, which has been since 2017. So it's a huge chunk of my life. And I have been in rooms of people I admire who admire me. I've seen people get excited about my ideas. I have developed a belief in myself that there is an absolute possibility that I can come forward with something. And it's, as you said, not just a product, but something that makes people feel good. My hero product that I'm thinking of developing at this point, and I believe the hero product should be something that's inexpensive to produce and has great marketing possibilities. And it's a toy. And my last one was jewelry. And the one that I hope to make eventually is spiritual. So you can go in so many directions in order to fulfill your dream and fulfill the dreams of the people in the world that you care about, which is wonderful.
It's several good points there. And again, we'd chatted quite a bit about the journey, but it's the whole idea that as you meet new people, as you grow as a person, as you learn new things, you learn some major skill sets here. Like when you talked about the fact that you did 3 different searches, that's a very professional approach to doing things as an inventor. And a lot of people make the mistake of not doing that at all. And then doing your NDAs with people. So you learned a lot of great practices and use them that will serve you as you go forward. So it's really not like anything was lost, because everything, again, as I mentioned, fuel for the fire, but you learn and move in a different direction or going positive forward with it. And the idea of creating a toy or a product that's inexpensive to produce and also great marketing potential, Those are two elements of a successful product. In other words, some inventors look for exotic, expensive, creative things, but those will never succeed in the marketplace or very rarely. It's the inexpensive things that solve an annoying problem that addresses something people wish there was a better way to do it. And then the cost to produce it and the potential in the marketplace are good.
Well, I think it's not something that's mentioned too often, but the product that we're speaking of that I lost to someone else was very inexpensive to produce and had mass marketing possibilities. And as simple as it was, it cost me over $10,000 in different areas between the attorneys, the searches, the costs at the USPTO. So this is an expensive hobby. And I think what I want to tell people more than anything is have a budget and stick with it. Just be realistic. Do not put yourself in jeopardy, because had I put myself in financial jeopardy, we wouldn't be having this light conversation.
That's a super good point for our listeners to hear is that, look, we get emotionally connected to our product or idea, and we just know it's going to be successful. And in fact, it never would or couldn't be successful if we didn't have that degree of passion about it. But on the flip side, you do need to step back from it and look at your circumstances and situations and really not put yourself in jeopardy, and don't put the house in mortgage and just roll the dice and just know it's going to go great, because you're going to feel wounded for years to go and question yourself if you do something like that. Whereas if you make a little bit wiser choice, then you'll never regret it.
One thing to mention, I realize now, is that when my patent was being questioned by the patent examiner, who I had a really rough patent examiner, and my lawyer suggested we could go to USPTO court. But again, the cost would have been extraordinary with not necessarily getting anything in return. Should I have won the case and gotten the patent, would I then have the money to do anything with it? Granted, I could get someone to license it perhaps. But again, there is luck involved in this business. You can do everything right, but there is luck involved because it's so many people trying for the same small number. There's only so many mentors. There's only so many manufacturers. There's only so many shopping TV venues. So it's a very crowded market and there's very few openings. It's like acting. It's all the glamour stuff. That's very few openings and a lot of people interested. So you have to be realistic, but you can have fun no matter what, as long as you stay financially sound.
Yeah, that's good advice. Well, Bonnie, I know you to be a canny consumer and very much a creative thinker and problem solver. After this emotional impact of the journey that we just described, where do you go from here? Can you describe what direction or product segment your next invention will be in as you go forward? And looking forward, what gets you excited now? Where do you see yourself in the next 6 months to a year, would you say?
Of late, I feel very excited. Of late, I feel there is hope for me to move forward. I've collected money again so that I have something to work with. But now I have a really good fundamental base of people I know who can help me move forward, which is always good to have rational people on your side to tell you whether you're wrong or not. The product I have in mind, actually, there is no prior art. It would be design and it would be branding and it would be copyrights, that kind of thing. It exists. So it's just a matter of making it exist differently. The other idea I have, which is the one that I care most about, is a spiritual idea. And I'm trying to find a product that can fund me so that I can absolutely move forward with that, because I think it would bring comfort to people. And I don't think you can do better than that in this world. But at this point, through everything I've been through, I'm so much more knowledgeable. So in that sense, I feel a lot calmer about it. I'll take the extra steps, do the extra searches, ask the right people, those kind of things. And as with American Express, that stuff's priceless. So I'm grateful for the knowledge.
And especially being able to put things in perspective. And as emotional or, I guess, passionate as we get about our products, it is useful to be able to step back and be as objective as you can, just as you described here, and say, you're working on a product idea. And when you look at it, you can see you can copyright it, you can brand it and do some other things with it. But this particular idea may not be patentable, but you feel like it's marketable and it can do well. And your real heart is towards ultimately a spiritual product. And your goal is to use success from this product to be able to then turn and do the spiritual product.
Correct. And I also, for those of us who just think in these ways, I know I've been told that I sound egomaniacal sometimes about my inventing, but the truth of the matter is, it's just something that comes naturally to me. I'm lucky. It's like when there's a composer who can write a song, they're lucky. They're not special. And so it just is second nature to me to look at something and try to figure out a better way. And obviously, I think for those of us who think in those directions, to have a product line, I would love that, because all of the ideas I have only make life easier in the long run. With just the simplest ideas, tissue boxes and things in the garden to keep a heron out of my pond. It's just practical, logical things that make life better for people. And why not? And if I can make some money from it, great. And if I don't, that's okay too, because it's really exciting to be able to see your dreams become a reality in any way, shape, or form, and to still keep dreaming. That's so big that you can still believe. It really makes every day worth waking up to.
I so much agree. Again, just creating a product, putting it out in the world, seeing people enjoy it on some level. And also, I sometimes use a baseball analogy. There's not very many inventions that are going to be, say, a home run. But you know what? You can have a successful or moderately successful invention, and that can be great. And somehow I think the American thought process sometimes is if it's not a home run, it doesn't do phenomenally, then it's a failure, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Because I've given the example before is somebody licensed a product and maybe the royalties are $3,000 a month. They make $30,000 a year out of royalties, and everybody says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, it wasn't successful." So wait a minute. If that person gets, let's say, $30,000 a year in royalties, that money comes to them no matter what else they do. Are they going to get a raise in their job that's going to give them $30,000? Probably not. And the satisfaction of putting, as you just described, a product out there that provides something of value to others and that you can see has created a little better place in the world is an immense joy.
And also, you don't have the liability. Too often, again, I can't stress enough that people must do their homework when they come into this field. There are so many rules. There are so many laws, and they're real. When you're dealing with the government, if you don't file by a certain period, it's done. If you don't pay certain things by a certain date, it's done. If you disclose and you don't come in within a year, if you put in your provisional and don't go to utility within a year, you've got to know these things. You've got to protect yourself as much as you can so that when you get to certain places, you can move forward. Unless you know the rules, you can't play the game. And I think too many people watch Shark Tank and say, "Oh, it's easy." It is not easy. But it doesn't mean it's not fun. It just isn't easy.
And there's an expression I like a lot. It says most overnight successes were 10 years in the making.
I love that. That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah. But you made a great point. You've got to know the rules of the road and you've got to do your homework. And I would go one step further and say, I think too many inventors who get frustrated because they never, quote, achieve success, they treat it like a hobby and they expect it to suddenly create big money for them. You can't treat a career or any kind of endeavor entrepreneur endeavor, which is what inventing is, and not be serious about it, not study it, not understand the patent system and how it works. And as you said, what the rules are when you have to file, what are the odds, and all of these pieces. And honestly, if you're not willing to do that, then for sure inventing is not for you. And that's fine because there's something else you can do. But you do have to take a professional, serious attitude towards it. And sometimes inventors just treat it like a hobby, and it becomes a very expensive hobby. There's lots of hobbies out there that are nowhere near that expensive.
And again, I believe that you have to have finite costs. You have to set a number and know that you can do that. Granted, you can take out a credit card with a 0 APR to get to that number and give you time to pay it off. There's a number of ways to get the finances, but it has to be something you can pay off. And it has to be rational thinking. I've seen more despair amongst fellow inventors who have just gone so far beyond what they should have done. And it means a lot to me. And as I said, if my story is hard because I didn't gain fame or money through something that could, it's okay because I didn't need it. It's just okay.
Bonnie, as we roll towards the close, are there any parting words that you'd like to leave us with?
Again, I think I've said it. I just wish people to have fun, to follow their dream, to get to know the people within this community. I think it's a community of optimists, of dreamers, of believers. We're kind to each other. We want everyone to succeed. I've not yet met someone who truly doesn't want me to succeed. It's also an area with a lot of scams and not nice people. So you really have to take advice from those who you believe can help you. If it costs too much, don't do it. And then move forward and make your invention matter, because if you're that 1%, it's amazing.
My final question then is, how can our listeners reach you if they have other questions?
It's best to reach me at LinkedIn, and it's Bonnie RTN at LinkedIn. And also they can message me on Facebook.
Now, let me repeat that real quick. Did you say it was Bonnie RTN at
Correct.
LinkedIn?
As remember the name.
Yeah. And it's BONNIE for spelling, RTN, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And they can find you there. Bonnie, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today and sharing your journey and how you started from a very frustrating circumstance, but now you're moving forward in some exciting ways. And I'd like to reserve the opportunity in maybe another 6 months or a year to touch bases with you again and see what you've got going at that time.
And Ellen, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I care about my fellow inventors, and anything I can help them with brings me pleasure. And I thank you very much.
Oh, of course. Thanks for being on the podcast again. Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.